Have you ever wondered why some men, despite their extraordinary potential, remain emotionally stuck as perpetual adolescents? You probably know someone like this, a man brimming with charisma, intelligence, and charm, yet strangely unable to take responsibility and fully engage with adult life. He dreams big, talks vividly about grand plans, but somehow never moves beyond mere possibilities. Why is it that the most talented and captivating individuals often refuse to grow up? These are the men who enchant you with their creativity and youthful enthusiasm, yet frustrate you deeply by their refusal to commit or build anything lasting. Could it be that the freedom they so passionately chase is actually a cleverly disguised prison, trapping them in eternal immaturity? Ask yourself honestly, is the refusal to grow up really about freedom, or might it conceal a deeper, hidden fear? A fear of responsibility, a fear of failure, a fear of truly stepping into reality? Carl Jung described this clearly as the archetype of the Puer Aeternus, the eternal boy, forever caught between possibility and reality, unable or unwilling to mature fully. Perhaps you've seen this clearly in someone you care about deeply. Perhaps you even recognize parts of yourself in this pattern. What if the charming spontaneity that initially attracts others is also the very force keeping these men emotionally frozen, incapable of genuine growth? Reflect deeply. Could the reluctance to fully mature stem from this unacknowledged fear of embracing the responsibilities and commitments that adult life demands? What happens when the charm fades and only immaturity remains? Maybe it's time we face the uncomfortable truth clearly. The eternal boy isn't free. He's trapped, waiting forever to begin a life that never truly starts. Some men never grow up, not because they lack potential or talent, but because they're trapped by their own idealistic fantasies, unwilling to confront reality clearly. They drift endlessly in a state of perpetual preparation, forever planning extraordinary futures, yet never actually stepping into them. You've seen men like this, charismatic, brilliant, brimming with creative dreams, yet year after year, nothing tangible materializes. Consider Jake, gifted, charming, always talking passionately about exciting projects. He was full of extraordinary plans, business ideas, artistic visions, adventures, but somehow none ever took shape. He always waited, hesitated, and found excuses. The timing wasn't right. Circumstances weren't ideal. He never acted clearly, never grounded himself in reality, and so his potential remained forever suspended in possibility, unrealized. The eternal boy is like a kite without a string, drifting aimlessly, beautiful to watch, but never truly grounded, never truly achieving direction or purpose. Have you ever met someone who constantly talks about possibilities, yet never turns them into reality? Perhaps you've wondered why their brilliant potential remains forever trapped in inaction. This reluctance isn't about genuine freedom. It's about fear. Deep, hidden fear. The freedom the eternal boy seeks is not liberation, but rather an avoidance of reality's demands. On the surface, he proclaims a desire for freedom from routine, commitment, and responsibility. But this proclaimed freedom is merely fear disguised cleverly. Consider Tom. He often declared his passionate desire for freedom, insisting that traditional responsibilities and routines were restrictive and suffocating. Yet behind these bold claims was a profound fear of failing, of committing fully, of being ordinary. Tom's constant escape from responsibility wasn't freedom. It was fear. His life felt like a waiting room, always preparing, never actually stepping clearly into reality. Could what appears as freedom actually be subtle self-sabotage, preventing real growth? Behind nearly every man-child lies a deeper, unconscious dependency, often an attachment to what Carl Jung called the devouring mother archetype. This symbolic mother nurtures but also traps the eternal boy in perpetual immaturity. Think about Alex, whose mother protected him from every difficulty. She solved his problems, shielded him from disappointment, and ensured his life was comfortable. But as an adult, Alex struggled deeply. He remained emotionally immature, entering relationships expecting partners to mother him rather than becoming a genuine equal. This invisible cage created by his symbolic mother made escape difficult precisely because it felt safe and comforting. Could the eternal boy's reluctance to grow up reflect hidden shadow insecurities, fears he's unconsciously avoiding confronting? Have you ever noticed how dependence on comfort silently prevents true maturity? Ultimately, genuine maturity and freedom emerge clearly when the eternal boy finally confronts the harsh reality he's avoided for so long. The real path to adulthood isn't about losing youthful creativity or freedom. It's about stepping clearly into responsibility, accountability, and genuine commitment. James, for instance, always ran from serious responsibilities, jobs, relationships, commitments. He wanted the benefits of adulthood without the burdens. But after losing something deeply valuable because of his continual avoidance, James finally faced reality head-on. It was painful and challenging, but at that moment, he started living clearly and fully. Only then did his potential stop being mere possibility and became tangible success. He understood clearly. Maturity is crossing a bridge from fantasy into reality. Painful initially, yet profoundly liberating in the end. Carl Jung referred to this psychological growth as individuation, the deep journey toward becoming authentically oneself beyond external expectations or fears. Maybe the reluctance you've observed in yourself or someone close represents unconscious resistance to individuation, a fear of truly stepping into your authentic adult self. Ask yourself this honestly. Who would you become if you finally stepped out of your fantasies and faced reality clearly? What hidden dreams, goals, and potentials would you finally realize if you stopped running from responsibility and maturity? Reflect clearly and deeply. Perhaps the dreams you're holding on to so tightly are not protecting your freedom. They're blocking your growth. Perhaps the fantasy world you inhabit is not liberation, but a psychological prison of your own making. Who could you become if you dared clearly and fully to cross the bridge from the endless potential of the eternal boy into genuine adulthood, rooted in reality and meaningful action? The greatest tragedy isn't simply growing older, it's growing older without ever having truly lived. You might believe that adulthood is just about accumulating years, yet how often have you witnessed people stuck in perpetual adolescence, trapped in dreams they never dare realize, promises they never fulfill? These eternal boys carry remarkable potential, creativity, charisma, and endless possibilities. Yet, paradoxically, they never truly step forward into life. Instead, they're forever waiting, forever hesitating, forever trapped in a cycle of almost. Imagine a balloon, bright and beautiful, drifting aimlessly across the sky. At first glance, it captivates you, colorful, carefree, seemingly untethered from gravity, but look closer and you realize its beauty is fleeting. It has no anchor, no direction, and eventually, it becomes lost, carried by the whims of every breeze. The eternal boy is precisely this balloon. He enchants initially with his spontaneity, charm, and youthful energy, but without grounding, he inevitably drifts into emptiness, lost in fantasies that never become reality. Have you noticed this pattern clearly in someone around you, or even perhaps in yourself? How often have you felt excited about dreams and possibilities, only to watch them fade because you hesitated or avoided responsibility? How long have you waited, promising yourself, "Soon I'll start," yet that day never arrives? Look deeply into the psychology behind this eternal hesitation. Carl Jung described this as the Puer Aeternus, the eternal boy, someone trapped forever between possibility and reality, imagination and action. This eternal child seeks freedom, yet the freedom he chases isn't genuine liberation. It's actually fear in disguise. Fear of commitment, fear of failure, fear of confronting life's unavoidable demands. Beneath the carefree surface lies profound insecurity, the hidden terror of stepping into adulthood and bearing responsibility for one's choices. But consider this clearly: life does not wait. While the eternal boy remains suspended in endless preparation, life moves relentlessly forward. Time passes. Opportunities fade. Relationships crumble. Eventually, what seemed like endless potential becomes a haunting reminder of unfulfilled dreams and lost possibilities. Pause and reflect deeply now. What would your life look like if you finally stopped waiting and stepped fully into responsibility and maturity? Imagine clearly what could change if you faced your fears honestly instead of running from them. What might you achieve if you turned your brilliant dreams into clear, deliberate action? Think carefully about this. The eternal boy isn't free. He's trapped by his avoidance of reality. He tells himself he's waiting for the perfect moment, the ideal circumstances, or the right person. But these are just excuses. The truth is far simpler yet harder to accept. He is terrified of failing, of disappointing others, of seeing clearly that his fantasies may never match reality. Now ask yourself honestly, could your own hesitation, your own refusal to grow, stem from similar fears? Are you perhaps avoiding adulthood, responsibility, and commitment because deep down you're afraid to confront your limitations? What truths have you avoided clearly seeing in your life? What dreams have you delayed? What decisions have you deferred? Because stepping forward feels uncomfortable. Imagine the profound freedom and clarity you'd experience if you finally let go of the fantasy of eternal youth and genuinely embraced maturity. Maturity doesn't mean losing your creativity, spontaneity, or passion. It's about channeling these energies clearly into real, tangible outcomes. It means stepping forward with courage, no longer suspended between possibility and reality, but living fully, clearly, and authentically. Consider James. For years, he lived exactly like this eternal boy, always dreaming, always planning, yet never clearly acting. He constantly ran from commitment, fearful of being trapped. But one day, after losing something truly valuable because of his endless hesitation, James faced a powerful awakening. He saw clearly what his refusal to grow had cost him. In that moment of clarity, James finally embraced responsibility, maturity, and reality. It wasn't easy. It required deep courage, humility, and honesty. But stepping across that threshold transformed his life completely. Finally grounded in reality, his potential no longer floated away like a balloon without direction. It became real, tangible, and meaningful. What about you? What would your life look like if you no longer lived suspended in possibility, but finally stepped into genuine action? Who would you become if you clearly faced your responsibilities instead of constantly running from them? What hidden strengths, capacities, and potential could finally emerge if you stopped waiting and started living? The archetype Carl Jung describes, the eternal boy, doesn't have to define you forever. The path toward maturity and individuation, becoming your true self, is open to anyone who courageously faces reality clearly. This means acknowledging your fears, confronting your shadow, those hidden parts of yourself you've avoided, and stepping decisively into responsibility. It's uncomfortable, even painful at first, yet profoundly liberating. The balloon of the eternal boy drifts aimlessly, but it doesn't have to remain lost. Anchor it clearly in reality, give it structure, direction, and genuine purpose, and you'll discover a freedom far deeper and more meaningful than the false freedom of endless avoidance. Imagine your life clearly if you finally stopped hiding from adulthood. How would your relationships improve? How would your dreams become tangible? How would your confidence and self-respect transform if you took genuine responsibility for your decisions and commitments? Now is your moment of awakening. You can choose to remain trapped in eternal childhood or courageously cross the bridge to authentic maturity. It may be difficult, it may demand courage and honesty, but the freedom, clarity, and fulfillment you'll gain are worth everything. Ask yourself clearly, deeply, and honestly, are you ready to stop waiting, stop hiding, and finally start truly living? Your real life begins clearly, vividly, and powerfully the moment you step out of eternal potential and fully into reality. True freedom is not avoiding responsibility. It's embracing it clearly and confidently, stepping fully into adulthood. For so long, you've believed freedom means escaping commitment, routine, and accountability. But clearly consider this. How free are you if your choices are limited by fear of reality? Real freedom emerges clearly when you stop running from life's inevitable demands and genuinely step into your responsibilities. Take a quiet moment to honestly reflect on your life. What part of yourself have you kept immature or unfulfilled due to fear? Perhaps there's a dream you've constantly talked about but never truly pursued. Maybe it's a relationship you've hesitated to fully commit to, or a career step you've endlessly avoided because you're terrified of failure. Ask yourself clearly, what might happen if you finally faced that fear directly and took genuine responsibility for your life? Consider deeply the idea of maturity. It's not about giving up creativity, spontaneity, or freedom. It's about giving these qualities a stable structure to thrive. Maturity provides the foundation upon which your true potential becomes reality, rather than remaining trapped in the world of eternal possibility. It's about leaving behind fantasies and stepping clearly into action. The freedom you seek is not found by drifting aimlessly like a balloon in the wind, but by anchoring yourself firmly in reality and commitment. Right now, you have an opportunity to make a meaningful change. In the comments below, share honestly one responsibility you've avoided but now feel ready to face. Perhaps it's a project you've always postponed, a relationship you've feared committing to, or simply facing the practical challenges of daily life head on. Your honesty might inspire someone else who's struggling with the same hesitation, guiding them to start their own journey toward genuine maturity. Remember, real maturity is never about losing your creativity, passion, or youthful spirit. It's about finally allowing those precious qualities the stable framework they require to flourish. True growth and genuine freedom appear clearly when you stop waiting for the perfect moment, the ideal conditions, or external approval. They manifest clearly when you step into adulthood, fully and fearlessly. Now pause deeply and face this directly. How many more opportunities will you let pass by before you clearly see the cost of avoiding responsibility? How many relationships will you sabotage? How many dreams will you leave unfulfilled? How many regrets will you quietly carry if you continue hiding from maturity? It's time to clearly acknowledge that avoidance isn't freedom, it's captivity. What if stepping bravely into reality is the only way you'll ever truly live? Allow yourself to envision clearly. Who could you become if you stopped running from responsibility? How much brighter, fuller, and more meaningful would your life become if you embraced maturity not as a burden, but as the ultimate liberation? You hold in your hands the power to transform your life by courageously facing the very responsibilities you've avoided. Let today be the turning point, the day you stop delaying your dreams and start realizing them clearly. Remember clearly, true maturity is not avoiding life's realities, but stepping bravely into them. You've waited long enough. It's time now to truly live.